Greece?
I'm going there next week, so invite me back and I'll tell you. I have a perspective that, and so my territory is Europe, Middle East and Africa, so it's a pretty big territory. I'm only one person at the moment, although I'm trying to hire people. It's difficult to stay on top of all the innovation around that area, but there are some clear, central points of gravity, and you're absolutely correct. I don't see much in Italy and Spain and Greece. Maybe it's a function of me not spending enough time on the ground there, which could be the truth. But I think it's like many things, like we touched upon the point earlier. It isn't just enough for an entrepreneur to sit and have a great idea. You need an ecosystem around you to really break out of that. And that ecosystem is fantastic talent in universities, angel investors that want to take you forward to the next stage, venture funds, legal advisors, exit opportunities. All these things need to be in place really to create a sustainable ecosystem in that country. What I do think has changed now, though, is that we're in a world of the web where two guys and a dog can create a company without much money and get noticed on the web if they design it correctly and market it correctly, and it's an attractive proposition. So I did acquire a company in Spain earlier this year. It wasn't even a real company. It was two guys living in opposite ends of the country, and they had created a community for geolocated photographs that was embedded on top of Google Earth. And anytime you use Google Earth, you go down, you see lots of little pinpricks. That's their photographs called Panoramio. It wasn't a real company. They just created a fantastic user experience, and they got millions upon millions of people loading up their photographs to this experience. And they were making money through AdSense. They didn't raise any money. So it is possible. We do live in a world now where you can create companies that get above the radar screen and get noticed, even from countries like Spain or Greece or you name it. But those are rare items compared to having an ecosystem in place. And I think that's probably why you don't hear too much from Greece or that like. But I'll let you know. If you give me your card, I'll let you know next week when I go there.
You go there for vacations or business?
It's sort of half-half.
Okay, so vacations, okay. Other questions? Is any of the guys? We do have a question.
Well, we have one lawyer. We should pick on him a little. I apologize, Ian. You're the only lawyer here. But I just was wanting to get your opinion on the comment about there's Prague and then there's the rest of the Czech Republic. We went through a recent experience of getting our SRO formed that everything I understand was that if we had been in Prague, it might have taken 4 weeks, and it took us close to 6 months. Do you see that legal situation changing in the Czech Republic, or will we be experiencing this Prague versus the rest of the Czech Republic for quite a while?
Setting up a company in Brno.
That's quite interesting, and so much that I was surprised earlier when Thomas said that Slovakia is 2 years behind the Czech Republic in many respects, because actually I think it's way ahead in some areas, and that sort of administrative reform is something that the Czechs really should go to Slovakia and study, because nowadays in Slovakia you get your company set up just because you can do it in the UK. You're talking about 2 weeks maximum, and that's throughout the country. And I think the Czech Republic have just not, taken the bull by the horns and sorted out the administrative mess which is in most of the commercial courts. And of course, the situation in Prague is that the registrars there are put under more pressure. They're actually more used to setting up companies in probably the way you want to. I don't know the details. Whereas as soon as you go out of Prague or out of Brno, then you're faced with very experienced officials. But for me, the fundamental problem is that you've still got judges involved in setting up companies, and it's completely inappropriate. Whereas what the Slovaks did was take it out of their hands and put it into the hands of more junior officials who just process forms, which is what you want.
That answers it. Thanks. Michal?
Thanks. I just cannot resist to ask Anil, what are you looking for in Eastern Europe or in Europe in general in terms of products and companies? What are your interests?
So, our interests are quite broad. We have a very decentralized model at Google. I forget the actual number, but I believe we have 6 or 7 engineering sites just in and around Europe itself. Several of those were started as acquisitions, including our Russian Moscow office was started that way. So, what we look at when we believe that there's a sustainable ecosystem to go into, such as in the Czech Republic, is obviously talent in the ground, co-investors, lots of innovative companies, and we feel that we could acquire a company to kickstart our efforts on our engineering basis. It typically is a profile of a company that is 15, 20 strong to get some critical mass with some generic internet web skills. Of course, we can acquire companies that are very specific to any of our product ranges, and we have over 100 different products. And then, what we then need to do is see the fit between the product that's run out of Mountain View, out of London or wherever, and the company we're acquiring, and then it gets to issues around build versus buy decisions in terms of acquisitions. But if it's purely a generic acquisition to kickstart an office, such as it would be here in the Czech Republic, then we're less concerned about the fit to the product and more concerned about the talent and the experience of the people who are in the company, and to have somebody who's a natural leader to then build that office stronger and stronger.
Understood. Any more questions to the panel?
One last one.
Okay, so the last one goes to John again. Yeah.
Under Google, you have under Google, if you sign in the Czech Republic, you get in the Czech language only, and I understand that position, but you can't sign into Google.com and get an English version.
I think you can get an English version. I was on one this morning here in the hotel, so I don't know how I did it differently to you. So when I sign in, I'm on .com. I think it's usually a preference that's set somewhere, and obviously the default preference is probably because it figures out you're in the Czech Republic, but there is a way to change that. Usually on Google, these things are very easy to change, so I'm a little worried that you're finding it difficult, but I'm not the user experience expert, but I'd be very happy to take some notes back to my colleagues.
It is possible. It's easy. Anyway, okay. Thank you. Thank you guys for your questions. And I will, same as with the first panel, ask the panelists to give the audience one last conclusion, recommendation regarding successfully expanding their businesses. If we can start with Václav again.
Well, the original question was what's important to start in a new market, and we were speaking about perfect product, I must agree, but maybe even more important is to focus on the right people who are going to work in the local country, so really I recommend to find good people to work for you.
Okay, thank you. Michal?
Yeah, I agree with people remark. I forgot about it, but it's very, very important. Not only because we were talking about engineers, but of course the management and yeah, pretty much across the organization, including customer service, especially in our case, this is all important. Someone also mentioned that reminded me also the timing issue. The timing issue is very important, and I think it's a somewhere good comment for closing. That if you have some idea, it's probably still a good time to really start with it in 2 or 3 years. It might be good.
Thanks.
very simply, believe in what you do and find employees and customers who believe in the same.